So the first person I'm inviting onto the stage is Akerele, and she is the MD and CEO of Nail Boutique and Groomed by Elereka.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know I shouldn't play faves. Yes, I shouldn't play faves, but I get my pedicures done at Nail Boutique. Next up, we have Fola Fash, and she is the CEO and founder of Taupe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Next up, we have Dr. Rapu, and she is the founder and CEO of Fiore. Did I get the pronunciation right?
Yes.
Yes. And the final person joining us on this panel today is Omozo Ogunrobi, CEO and co-founder of All Naturals Beauty. Can we have a round of applause for her until she gets to her seat? So, however, the questions, you don't have to answer every question, but I feel like you can chip in or contribute to whatever question you feel like is relevant to something that you have to say. So the very first question is, and I'll start with you, Abby. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when scaling your beauty business, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much to Lio and the Splice team. I mean, this is fantastic, just to be surrounded by all the amazing beautypreneurs here. So I'm really excited. So this particular question is a very important question in terms of like, what are some of the challenges that we face? There are a number of challenges with scaling, and I think that when you're about to embark on an opportunity of trying to expand, not necessarily in bricks and mortar, it could be in a product line or whatever, you need to really think about the structure of your current organization. And when I say that, I'm saying, are you really fit for growth, right? Do you have the right structures to enable growth? Okay, do you have the right customers? Do you have the right staff? Do you have the right structures in terms of accounting, finance, in terms of monitoring? Do you have a large team? Within that team, do you have a human resource component that oversees those things? These are some of the major challenges that you may have. Another sort of area that I think that one needs to think about in terms of scaling is around your product capability and your inventory management. So in particular for my business, I manage, or rather I am the CEO founder of the Nail Boutique, and we're very much an inventory focused business. And in order for us to scale and to grow and to expand and to reach new sort of locations, we really had to focus on the inventory side. How do you procure? How do you store? How do you ensure that your fast-moving and your slow-moving products are equipped, okay? Do you have a warehouse? How do you keep your items? Very, very important. So I think that these are some of the challenges that a lot of beauty businesses have and things that they need to think about when they're scaling. Another area is around your staff, okay? I think that all of us can talk to some of the challenges that we have with recruitment of staff and retention of staff. What kinds of retention and recruitment strategies do you have? Do you have within your organization something whereby maybe yearly, quarterly, you have staff training? Do you empower your staff in terms of technical and softer skills? How do you recruit? These are all very, very important, and there are major challenges in terms of scaling your business. Okay. Another thing that I want to talk about, which is something that a lot of people don't really talk about, is around renting spaces or renting houses in Nigeria. because of the peculiarities that we have in Nigeria, you have to deal with landlords. And I think that it is very, very, very important that people understand the agreements that they get in with landlords, because these people can actually make or break your business. If you go into a property with a landlord that has promised you a generator that is going to be serviced on XYZ, that he will give you light between XYZ, and he does not, it can crumble your business. What kinds of backup do you have? Lawyer up, people. Very, very important. Before you enter into any tenancy agreement with anybody, you need to ensure that your tenancy agreement is tight, because if you do need to go down the legal route, you may need a strong lawyer to help you uncover some of those things. So these are some of the initial challenges. I'm sure people will have them. So I would talk about structure, I would talk about the staff, I would talk about inventory, and I would talk about ensuring that you have a right tenancy agreement to ensure that you can scale appropriately. Okay. Thank you.
Those are very solid points. Do we get a round of applause? Okay. Does anybody else want to contribute to what she just said? Go ahead. Okay. Wait, hold on. I think someone, yes. Let Abby, do you mind? Yes.
Hello. Hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me, Layo, on the Splice team. Thanks, Valerie. Yes, you pronounced it right, Fiore. I think for me, I had a very specific challenge. I'm a medical doctor, specialized in dermatology, aesthetics, injectables. And I find I was always away for training, like masters, diploma, this course, that course. And every time I travel, people just wouldn't book anymore because they're waiting for Dr. Udru to come back. Only Dr. Udru will touch my skin. Only Dr. Udru will do my consultation. Yeah. And I just thought, you know what, I can never expand my business this way. First of all, every time I travel, like I was in Jamaica at some point, and they're 6 hours behind, and I'm waking up at 4 a.m. to do virtual consultations, then going for my training at 10 a.m., and then recently came out from South Korea. I'm still awake at odd times. So what I find in the service industry, there's a lot of like hoarding of knowledge. Yes. And you're like, you don't want to teach your staff because they're going to take your clients, blah, blah, blah. But I got to a point where I felt, you know what, I want to be, when I'm away, know that my clinic is offering the exact same standard I can offer. So first of all, I have Just Nurses, we're very education focused. We're doing courses every week. Any new treatment that comes in, guys, this is how polynucleotides work. This is how Botox works. You have to understand to the level that if someone comes to the clinic when I'm away, they understand from you what PRP does. They understand from you how this particular skincare ingredient works. So I got to a point where I found, you know what, people, you know, you can't hold on to staff forever, but in the period where my staff are there, I need to ensure that the value we're providing every client that comes in, even in my absence, is the same as they'll get when I'm there. So we've thankfully reached a stage where, I mean, I'm here and the clinic is still running. Okay. I am a bit of like a helicopter boss, so I'm like, guys, okay, still text me. I'm still going to be awake at 3 a.m. in a different continent. But I've been able to get to a point where my clients come in and they trust the nurse knows what she's doing. They trust the esthetician knows what she's doing. And so I found training. I found that was super important because, again, I'm not stressed. I'm like here, I cannot look at my phone for like 10 minutes and know that the team know what they're doing. And I find this has helped with expansion for us because we recently opened a med spa that's a bit less medical focus. So we have an esthetician. People are coming in to see her for like facials, microneedling, and they don't even know I exist. So I think that's something that was a game changer for me, making sure I trust that if I come to the clinic, I will allow this nurse touch my skin. And I think that made a really, really big difference for me and my stress levels as well.
Okay, fair enough. Fola, is this microphone?
Hi.
Hi. I don't know. Okay, do you have anything to add, Fola?
Hi, I'm Fola. My name is Fola Fash, and I'm the founder of Taupe and Taupe Tools. So Taupe is a salon, and Taupe Tools is our product line. Some of the challenges I face are similar to what the other ladies have mentioned. So mainly staff, of course. Everybody knows that, and like she said, people say, oh, you should hold your knowledge. There's some stuff that you shouldn't say, and they should. I don't have the energy for it. So for me, I'm happy to just train. And as someone mentioned in the audience earlier on, you have to hire based on character and not skill. I can't teach you to be loyal. I can't teach you to have morals. I can't teach you any of that. But if you come with that, I can teach you the skills that you need. If I see that, okay, you're somebody that can maybe learn fast, or even if it's going to take you some time, then I know that I can pace you on a certain level. Obviously, the challenge that most of us will face is the naira fluctuating. Nigeria is very volatile, so at some point I had to say, you know what, I can't focus on just the salon. I have to think about products. So that's where Taupe Tools came about, and also because of COVID and all of that, as well as another thing is utilizing my space. So when I started, we only had 3 chairs, and after a while, I was like, you know what, I need to expand. And initially, I used to do everything myself. As Dr. Uju said, most clients will come to me, oh, I want Fola to do my hair, and I can't do everybody's hair. So the best thing I could just do was train my staff, and then eventually added a 4th chair, still utilizing my space, and just focusing on like tier pricing. So for example, I would be more expensive than obviously all my other staff. So that will give them a chance to be able to do all my clients. And if you want me to do your hair, then of course you have to pay a premium fee. So I think that has been the way that I've been able to because at the end of the day, I know my worth. So I just decided, you know what, I'll just have a separate pricing, and that's fine. And that has really, really worked for my brand.
Okay, that's extremely fair enough. Are we getting around about to that? Omozo, do you have anything else to add?
I also think that don't have the idea that you must die at one particular location.
Okay.
For example, you've got 2 locations, you open a 3rd one somewhere, and you're like, I die here. This one must work.
Yeah.
Pastor told you, Alpha told you, this one must work. Don't have that idea, because you will die there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that location will be closed down. So have your matrices, your metrics, the things that you can look at and say, okay, yes, it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to do, or on its way to do what it's supposed to do. So and also have a timeline. So if it's not going as planned, close and find another location, or change things up. I'll give you an example. We were at Adenro Mall, ShopRite Mall in Surulere. And it was just going downhill from there. We started off and it was just going downhill. And somebody told me, he said, when XYZ happens, it's not going to get any better. But I was like, oh, we've done this, we've done that, I die here, oh God, whatever. As of Saturday, we've left that place, we've moved into somewhere else.
Okay.
And the amount of money we made this weekend compared to what we made in the last 3 months at that place was markedly different. Wow. And so I was sitting and I was like, coconut head. We die here is not a slogan for every situation. So have your parameters. If it's not working, close it, move away. Techno was in the same mall 3 months. They were there for 3 months. I came in one day, they had closed their shop.
Fair enough.
So have your parameters. If it's not working at that location, it doesn't mean you're not going to expand. It just means it's not working there. Close up and move on.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a very interesting one, and it kind of ties into the next question I want to ask, which is, can you share an example of a failed expansion or growth strategy and what you learned from that experience? Who wants to go first? I feel like everybody might have one. Do you want to go? Yeah, sure. Abby, please go first.
Okay. So I have, and seeing that we're here with Splice, it's actually a perfect situation. When I was, it was about year 3 of me starting the business, and I was using a salon software that wasn't working for me. So I had gone through the process of embarking on an IT company to actually build a software solution. This was before Splice, might I add, Lio. And I had spent millions of naira creating and developing a salon software that I thought that would work for my business. I wanted it tailored, I wanted it to integrate loyalty, I wanted it to give notifications, and afterwards it was a royal hot mess. It didn't work, it didn't provide anything that I needed, it was manual, customers would come in and there would be triple bookings under one person. There were no notifications. So that was a major issue.
So I know when some people sort of like hear about my brand, they're like, oh, needles, injections are gonna hurt us. But I felt that we had more to offer. So I like a challenge. I like to show that I can win. And so I was like, let me get a different space. Let me hire like a new set of staff. Let's do like new machinery. Let's do like hydrofacials, dermaplaning, some more like spa-based stuff, like less injectables. So we got a space like down the road, and like what Abby said, landlords, so stressful. So I've like done up this space, like spent so much money making it into what we wanted to do. To be like, and then the contract says they're going to give us like electricity, obviously 10 to 5, blah, blah, blah. And we now start like marketing. We realize they're not giving us light. They're like arguing with us. And when they know it's like a female-owned business, I think sometimes they're a little bit, they try to like, you know, intimidate you and stuff. And I'm not intimidated because I've been doing this for like 8 years. So if I need to, I'll like call it police, I'll call lawyer, I'll stress you right back out. And so, but with time, I realized, you know, this is like so stressful. I wanted to do this other brand so that if I'm not me doing the work, there's still sort of like revenue, there's still income. And after about 3-4 months, I was just like, you know, this is taking my stress levels up, but I'm not going to let myself fail. Yeah. So what we did was, I just realized in our current space, we had extra room. So we just built like a separate section, did like separate branding, and another room in where we're at now. So just also making use of the space. Still got our new staff, gave them like their own new brand name, their own Instagram page. And then we start marketing. But then I'm like, okay, what happens to this other place I've rented? Does that mean I'm going to fail? No. So what we decided to do was, we also kind of do like liposuction surgeries, like awake surgeries. So what I do are like day cases, people coming, do like a mini awake liposuction procedure, go home. And then we had, I always try to think of like any challenges and how I can fix it, because I thought, you know, the last patient we had, she was coming from the mainland every day for her post-op. It was a bit stressful. So can we now like turn this little space and say, well, I'm doing like shortlet for like my post-op patients.
Like a recovery home?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I was like, okay, no failure in my books, we're going to do that. So now we're able to offer that as like shortlets for patients that just want to be close to the clinic, if they have like a procedure. Okay. And I find in terms of our costs, we're now able to honestly have 2 businesses running with just paying 1 rent. Okay. So I think that kind of made sense for me. So okay. I tell you, don't be discouraged by challenges. Literally, like, I think the business in Nigeria, because I'm not a business person, I'm a medical doctor. Business in Nigeria is problem solving. So literally sit down, this is my problem, and come up with all the things you can do. What can you turn this space into? I don't like challenges, but I see them as opportunities for growth and expansion.
All right. Round of applause for Dr. Oji, please. Fola, do you want to add something? Omozo, do you want to add something? Okay. So let's talk about giving advice. So what advice would any of you give to a beauty business owner who is just thinking about starting expansion?
Should I go? Oh, okay. So the first thing I would say is definitely think about your costs and your profits. Money is important because as much as you see, yeah, you're getting a lot, making money, what are you spending to make that money? You know, think about your cost per sale. All of those things are very important. So, for example, if you have a space, a brick and mortar, a physical space, and you say, okay, I want to get a bigger space, or I want another location. Okay, have you utilized every square foot in that space that you're actually in right now? So, okay, I always tell people that if you're going to expand, don't do it based on ego or like, oh, everybody's going to look at me and say I have so many branches and this big space. I really do not care about that. I tell everyone, my salon right now is like less than 50 square foot, and I'm very okay. So you just think of other ways that you expand. Are there things that you can do digitally, like e-commerce? You don't need a space for an e-commerce business unless, I don't know, it's required. Unless you're providing a service, you actually do not need a space. And as you can see, there's so much stress already with owning a space. Get your own generator. Somebody will tell you that it's service. It's not serviced. Like, it's just too many things that your business relies too much on, like Nigeria. I don't know how else to explain it, but just the infrastructure. And obviously we all know that Nigeria is not necessarily built the best for small businesses, and you're literally like struggling every single day just to like, at least just to survive. So I think for me, that's the main thing I would say. And definitely delegate. I know a lot of people are very much like, oh, I want to do everything myself. I don't want people to steal my customers. You cannot control everything. You're just one person. You cannot divide yourself into many people. The best you can just do is hire the right personnel, have the right team, and have managers. I think people really underestimate the importance of having, like, I have a salon, so I know some people will say, okay, I want my stylist to manage my business. No, what that's just gonna happen is they have too much access to your customers. That person can literally say, I'm going tomorrow, and they will take all your customers with them. No, have a manager in place that is literally so separate from the actual stylist, and they literally do not even touch the client's hair. Like my managers, I have 2 managers, and none of them touch the client's hair. I have people that are dedicated to just providing the service. Anything that's going on the back end, you do not have to know. It has nothing to do with you. Your own is just to service the customers, and that is it, and make sure that they're happy. The manager will deal with, okay, anything to do with payments, anything to do with booking the appointments, all of that. I think making sure that you separate those things are very important for you to actually have proper structure and a good workflow. So I think that's the main advice that I would give to people, is that you need to delegate. And I guess the main thing, the last thing I would say is, I always say this, if you have a staff member that wants to leave, just let them go. You'll find somebody else, and somebody else will be better. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much for that. Yes, Omozo.
I would say plan. I know it's very cliche to say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Definitely have a plan and execute the plan. Expanding isn't something that you do in one day, and it might not be something you will do in a month. It might be something you will do in a year. So have a plan. What do you want it to look like? How do you want to serve your customers? What kind of products do you want to have there? What kind of staff? Just like we heard from Joyce now, would they be different from the current location you have, or would it be exactly the same? So have a plan. Have a very, very clear picture. I think that sometimes when we expand, sometimes the picture is clearer for the second location or for the other location, yes, as opposed to the first one, you know? So have a plan and know your numbers. It's not enough to know that I made 500,000 this weekend. Last weekend I made 400,000. What does that mean? What does it mean?
Yeah.
Does it mean that you spent 200? Does it mean you spent 20K? Does it mean you didn't spend anything? Know your numbers, because if you do not know your numbers, if you don't know how much it costs you to buy one product, you will not know how much it will cost you to buy 20 products. If you do not know how much profit you are making from one customer, you will not know how much profit you are going to make from 10 customers. You won't know if you have 10 locations and you've got 1,000 customers going to those 10 locations. You will not know the profit you are making. So know your numbers. If you don't know, take a class. YouTube has courses, yes, but sometimes just even going on YouTube to find information is another job. It's another business on its own. So get people who are trained and who are experienced in teaching you how to read and understand your numbers and learn from them. What does it mean to make profit? What is gross profit? What is net profit? What is profit after tax? We're in Lagos. If you're not paying taxes, FYI, Lagos will come for you. They are coming. I'm telling you, prepare yourself. So you need to know, are you hiding money? If you are hiding money, know how you are hiding it. If you are going to have it under your business name, and you're going to now register a limited liability company, and you're going to now have POS under your own name, just know how you're going to do all of those things. Know your numbers. Because one day you'll wake up, and I'm speaking from experience, you are happy, business, the salon was busy, oh my gosh, the buzz, the this, I went home so tired, as I go home I just slept, it was just a wonderful day, and you're still borrowing to pay salary at the end of the month. What kind of wonderful days are you having? So I'm speaking from experience. You may have to humble yourself and say to yourself, I don't know, or I don't know enough, and get to know your numbers. That it will save you so much. If you don't know how to use Excel, maybe find somebody to use Excel. Just plug things in so that when you change, some people's band now has changed from B or C to A. And that's a big difference in your power cost. You know diesel and petrol have gone up. So if you don't know how to calculate these things, where are you putting it? You know, oh, diesel now, we bought diesel for 1,000 today. Oh, yesterday it was 500. And so what? What does it mean? So know your numbers and just have a plan. And don't be intimidated. I had this conversation with a friend of mine. Don't be intimidated by what you are seeing on social media. We are curating it nicely for you. We are editing those pictures. We are brightening the colors. We are whitening our teeth. It's not real. Many of these things are not real. It's so that you will desire what you don't have, or what you already have, but you will think you don't have it. And if you are not disciplined and you are not planning well, you just enter wahala. So don't be intimidated by, I've got 10 branches, I have 100 staff, or I've got 2 branches or whatever. Plan, pace yourself, and know your numbers.
Okay, that was amazing. Can you get a round of applause, please? So I feel like every time you answer a question, you kind of answer the next question I have for you. But then the next question I wanted to ask was, all of you obviously on the panel, how do you stay ahead of industry trends and ensure your business continues to innovate as it grows?
Sorry, can I answer that?
Of course, go ahead.
So I always say I'm a professional hairdresser, which means I went to school for it. No be learn work. I actually went to school for it. One of the things they taught us was to stay ahead of industry trends. You've got industry trends that other people are setting. Yeah? You've got industry trends that are being set in Nigeria. You've got industry trends that are being set in Japan that we have tried to copy and paste and put in here. One of the ways that I find quite effective in staying ahead or in tune with is keeping in touch with my colleagues in the industry in Nigeria. Right now, that's where my customers are. I don't have any location outside of the country at the moment. So my customers are here. My customers are in Lagos. I don't have customers outside of Lagos. People come here to Lagos to do their hair in my salon. So keeping in touch with my colleagues, it's been mentioned a lot of times, by my panelists and Joycey about being afraid to share information and things like that. That hasn't been my experience, and I'm not going to lie. So keeping in touch with my colleagues in the industry, when we have conversations, we hear, they'll mention that, oh, do you know about this? Do you know about that? This is going on. This kind of haircut or this kind of hair treatment is going on. There are trainings that they'll mention to me, and I'll share with them as well. We have L'Oreal as our partner, so L'Oreal will also have trainings, and then we learn about new products, we learn about new techniques, and of course, reading as well, yes. You need to read as well. You need to subscribe to industry magazines, industry associations that may be outside of the country. And then, of course, you'll pick and choose. But primarily, how I stay, afloat in terms of trends would be speaking with my colleagues in the market that I'm based in. And then once in a while, you start a trend. You will try, it might fail. You'll try, it might fail. There are some things that we are doing. Yes, I'm going to call your name. Sexy African thread, AKA some gaps. But she revived it, and you go to the salon, and people will ask, can I do SAT? Can I do SAT? There's no need to be angry. You don't learn how to do it, add it to your service list. That's what's trending right now in that, in hairdressing, one of the things that's trending. So you learn from that, you see what's going on pages, subscribe to industry magazines. We need a strong industry magazine. I'm sorry, I was really waiting for this question. We need a very strong industry magazine in Nigeria. Let's do it, let's talk, because there are amazing things that we are doing that we don't know about and that the rest of the world doesn't know about. They'll come in, they'll check, and then they'll take it away. You see it and you'll be like, isn't this what they are doing at so and so place? Isn't this what they are doing at so and so place? But because it's not amplified, it seems as if it was brought from there. So a magazine, a strong beauty, wellness, hairdressing, makeup, whatever you want to call it, magazine or association, is really, really important because there's strength in numbers, putting heads together and everything. It's really, really important. I feel as if I'm preaching. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omozo. Round of applause for her.
I don't mind adding something. I think in terms of staying ahead, what I would say is I'm always competing with myself. So whatever is new in the aesthetic industry, I'm going to say I know the most about this treatment. I'm not comparing myself to what the other people are doing because as far as I'm concerned, they might be at this level and everyone else in the world is at this level. And something I've been fortunate enough to be able to do is travel. So I'm literally just coming back from South Korea last week and I said, you know what, whatever they're doing with skincare, with aesthetics, with injectables, with awake liposuction, I'm going to be doing it as well. And there's no need, because Joyce was just telling me, no one else is doing this female rejuvenation, HIFU thing you're doing. And I said, I'm not really looking at what other people are doing. I'm looking at, are they doing this in other countries that are known to be the best? Because I'm going to say I'm the best at it, and I'm going to do it in Nigeria. So I find I'm constantly it's easy to get comfortable with what other people in your industry are doing, because it's like, we're all on this level in Nigeria, it's okay, we're not in Korea, whatever. But I'm like, once it exists, I will know the best. I will do as much knowledge, as much training. So I've done about 3 degrees so far around dermatology, aesthetic medicine, and medicine. I have 3 degrees, and I don't need to do it because other people are doing the same thing, and without even a medical degree, for example. So I'm constantly sort of in competition with myself. What was I doing last year? I'm going to do better this year. By next year, what country is coming up as the latest? I'm going to do it as well. So I find that has helped me in terms of saying I'm staying ahead in my industry.
All right, I love that. Okay, you go ahead.
I think the main thing for me is, to be honest,
Okay.
I think for me, like everybody, is social media. At the end of the day, we're always on social media. We can see on our Explore page, on For You. You see people from other countries doing the same thing. I mean, I guess we don't all necessarily have to, travel. I guess because technically it's on your phone as well. So, but yes, traveling definitely helps. Obviously, speaking to other people in your industry is very important. But it's also not everything that you see that you must necessarily implement into your business. I feel like sometimes we always feel like, oh, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's trendy, and I have to do it. No, sometimes it's just, is it aligning with your brand values? All of that is very important. Or, your brand image, it doesn't make sense for me, for example, if I came today and said, oh yeah, I'm offering maybe locks, for example, everybody would look at me like I don't understand, because you literally do hair extensions, you do silk presses, it's just very different. So I think it's very important to understand that it's because not everything you see that you must necessarily copy, and I feel like a lot of times in Nigeria, a lot of people do copy a lot. So it's very important to just be yourself, and yes, be inspired, but you don't necessarily have to copy other people, and just think about what works for you and your brand. And the thing about in any industry is, if you're good, people will definitely patronize you. You don't have to be you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. If you focus on your niche and you're really good at it, and you offer quality service, a quality experience, then that's what matters.
All right, thank you so much for that. Abby, do you have anything to add?
I mean, a lot of it has been said, but I think that personally for my line of business, I use social media a lot. So I follow similar types of businesses that I aspire to be like overseas. And I look at their model, I look at some of the products that they're using. And if I find that these are products that are repetitive, then I will go and do a lot more investigation in terms of them. I also have been fortunate to travel, and for those that are able to travel, I would suggest very strongly some of these beauty trade fairs. There is a big one called Cosmoprof. They have one in Las Vegas, and they have one in Europe. It's an excellent beauty fair to go to if you can, where you'll be exposed to a lot of the latest products. a lot of the latest opportunities, a lot of the things that are up and coming, a lot of the new technologies in your area. And specifically, they do demos there, so you can actually see how these things will be recreated. Then you can take that information and try and recreate it back when you come home. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Fola
sorry, I wanted to add one more thing. Another thing I would say is just have young friends. Some of these Gen Zs, they know everything. So sometimes, even if it comes to like social media, they literally tell me what is happening on social media because their own For You page is different from my own. So, and also your customers as well will literally come to you, oh, can you guys do this? If you see that you're getting a lot of people asking you, do you do this, do you do this? Maybe it's time to actually look into that and think about offering those services or tailoring it to meet your own needs. So that's what I wanted to say.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Fola, for adding that. So we're a bit pressed for time, and I'm going to throw questions. I'm going to ask the audience if they have any questions for our lady seated here today. Anything pertaining to secrets to success and how to just pretty much scale your business. Do you have any questions in the audience, please? Yes. Thank you, sweet Taupe.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I work with Braiders Club.
Yeah, my brothers actually.
So my question is staff retention. Staff retention. Because I know that's basically most of the struggles we have. So I really want to know what you guys do separately. because it's hard keeping staffs. It's so hard keeping staffs. Yeah.
Okay, can I answer?
Of course.
Okay, I know Braiders Club. Hi, how are you? So staff retention is very difficult in Nigeria, let's not lie, but one thing that I implemented in my business after a while was I realized that I'm training people and then sometimes they leave, they go somewhere else and literally just jumping from one salon to another. So what I eventually did was I have like a clause, I spoke with like my HR consultant and she literally told me the best thing you can just do for yourself is have a clause. So if I'm training you, I'm calculating how many hours I'm training you. If you want to leave, no problem, but you're going to pay me for the training when you're leaving. And also, it's very important to have your guarantor forms. Ensure that you know exactly who your employees are. Verify their addresses, verify their guarantors' addresses, all of that. And a lot of times, once you have that clause in place, it's actually very difficult to... What happens is anybody that comes to work for you, they already know that that clause is in place. I've had people come and you tell them, okay, if you're going to work for me, you have to stay there for 3 years. After 3 years, you can leave in peace. You don't have to pay me anything. But before that 3 years, you're going to have to pay me. And a lot of them will tell you, no, it's okay, I don't want to work here. And that's okay, because then I know that you're not here for the right reasons. And that is very okay. So then the people that are there, yes, of course, I'm very sure some people we're going to have those questions of, oh, what if they bypass that? Or some people run away or they go to another country. Again, you cannot control everything, but the things that you can control, you do your best to actually like keep that risk. At the end of the day, you are taking a risk on these people by training people and them leaving. But having that clause has definitely helped my business in more ways than I can imagine.
It's a good one. Can I just add? Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. I hire with the intention that they are going to leave.
Okay.
I left somewhere. And so I hire with the intention that they are going to leave. I left somewhere. And I want them to leave, not in a bad way, so that they can pursue their own dreams and their own goals. So I look at it that way. Initially, when I started my business, I used to be very, very scared, very afraid that my customers would leave, very afraid that my staff would leave. So I made decisions that were very unhealthy. So I did things so that they would like me, so that they would be guilty when they want to go. Because, oh, she's so nice. They still left. They stole and they left. And then you go through the, oh, after all I've done for you kind of thing. So now, like I said, I hire with the intention that they are going to go. And whatever staff policy I have is the staff policy I have. So it's not about being nice. It's about how I run my business efficiently. We've got benefits, pension, health, and all of those things. And when it comes to training, we train very, very actively. We have embedded it into them being ambassadors. So if you go, the idea is that when you go, you're an ambassador. So the other business will hear, oh, you're coming from so and so. Oh my God, they train them very well, blah, 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 blah. So I have all of that in mind. And one thing I do very well, I sack very, very well. Yes. Again, I was afraid of doing that. I sack very, very well. The last group of 4 that I sacked, I was pregnant. I had my baby a week after. I went there and I sacked them because they were trying to do mutiny. So don't be afraid to sack. It's not working out. Release, whatever you want to call it, sending forth, blah, blah, blah. Release them to go. Trying to make fit this thing in and, whatever. Fola said it too, that let the person go. You will probably hire someone better. So I hire with the intention that they're going to go. I train them very well, thinking that they'll be ambassadors. We have a strong benefits program, and I'm not afraid to sack. Once it's not working out, I'll ask the person to go.
All right. Abby wants to add something too. Do you have something
to add?
Okay.
I think one thing I noticed was that there's always going to be someone who's willing to offer someone like an extra 20K, an extra 50K, and you can just be going back and forth. I felt that people also were looking for places they can work and be happy. They can feel fulfilled. They feel that you actually believe in, you're training them, you actually believe in them. You want them to develop as people as well. So my team isn't, I don't have like 20 staff I'm working with. I'm able to kind of keep my team within like about 10 of us. So I kind of let them know that I'm interested in the value I'm giving them. So I don't expect anyone to be with me forever. But benefits as well. People are getting stressed. We have beach day. We've had yoga day. So I'm quite... So things that I would do for myself, because they know, she's taking a weekend off. But I also kind of show about their wellness as well. So my nurses, we have accommodation for them. I did their room by myself. So they know that I care. And I've said we have like health benefits, we have insurance, and we have meetings once a week, and we do like prayer sessions. Is there anyone going through an issue? Someone got robbed. Can we gather together? How do you feel? So I find if I want to work somewhere, I'm looking at the value the person is giving me. I don't want to feel they're just using me for my willpower, paying my salary. I want to feel like I'm comfortable. My boss cares about me, cares about my well-being, cares about my home, cares about my health. So I think just kind of like, I'd say just humanity and just loving people. That's how I've been able to. So my oldest staff has been with me for about 8 years now. Yeah.
8 years, yeah.
So I would say that the staff retention issue is a big deal, but I can talk specifically about my business. I've been in business for about 7.5 years, and I have staff that have been with me for 7.5 years. I have staff approximately out of 76 employees that I have across my business. I have about 25 that have been with me for 5 years and above, right? Now, for me personally, my view is really around making sure that you take care of these guys. Listen, I know that you will get those bad eggs. And as soon as you see anybody that is a bad egg, quickly flush them out the system, because they will infiltrate and they will have an impact on the rest of the good staff. But there are good staff out there, guys. There are good people that are loyal and will be loyal to you if you take care of them. It is really, really hard in Nigeria right now. People are really struggling, as we all know. You will be unbelievably serious, even if you increase their salaries by 5,000, the way that these people will cherish you, the way that they will fight for you, the way that they will do overtime for you, the way that they will be brand ambassadors for you. When I was working in the bank, so my previous experience was that I was a banker for a period of time. We used to have this onboarding system whereby I used to work for Stanbic, and they used to call it blue jeans. because the logo is blue. So as you enter, you would go through a blue jeans training session where they will integrate you into their rules and the culture of the organization. I tell you that this thing about embedding a culture is very, very important. Even if you hire people that are badly behaved, if they see the way the rest of the staff behave, they immediately switch. They start behaving in terms of their environment. So I would say that it is important to create a culture within your organization of, be it discipline, of customer service excellence, of whatever it is that you want to achieve. Use a human resource team, be it consultants or if you have internal human resources, to start embedding the culture. Use it as an onboarding process. Have it as part of your SOP and standard operating procedures when they enter. We don't tolerate nonsense in this organization. This is what we stand for. This is what we expect. I promise you, you will start to see people come in, train, and embed your culture. And that is how you keep them, along with benefits, health, insurance, whatever it may be. All these things are also important. But the idea of culture, community, you'll ensure that you weed out some of the nonsense and you keep your best performers. Thank you.
All right. Very well said. Thank you so much, ladies, for this amazing, insightful panel that we've just had. I think it's fair to say that if you have any other questions for them, you can meet them individually and ask them and have conversations. One of the major reasons of hosting this event today is so that members of the beauty community can build an actual community where you communicate and share ideas and just make everything just generally better for yourselves and for the consumers. So thank you very much for listening to this panel session. This is now the end of this session. We're going to take a very short break.